Välkomna till Aktiedagen i Stockholm. Mitt namn är Ulf Boberg och jag leder frågestunden efter presentationen av bolaget. The next company we have is Oncology Ventures and will be presented by the CEO Steve Carchedi. Hello, Steve.
Hello. Can you guys hear me okay?
Shall I say good morning?
Yes. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you okay. To the people who watch in Sweden, you understand that we have another Zoom presentation. That means that the CEO is not here in the studio in Stockholm. It's still 100% digital. And Steve is sitting where? Where are you, Steve?
I'm actually in the U.S. just outside of Philadelphia at the moment.
Okay. And how is it in the U.S. those days?
Well, as during these COVID crises, as good as you can expect, right? Everybody is obviously sheltering in place, a bit different than what I think you have in Stockholm, but we're seeing to manage just fine.
Okay, great. And Steve, you will present Oncology Ventures. You have developed a technology to identify tumors that are sensitive to treatment. That's my own note. So yes, please go ahead.
Correct. That's correct. So first, let me just say thank you for the opportunity to highlight the exciting work that Oncology Ventures is doing and sharing it with your audience and the members participating in the activity today. Oncology Ventures is a precision therapy company developing cancer treatments utilizing some really innovative diagnostic platforms, which I'll share with you just in a moment. I thought before I begin, as a public company, I obviously have to highlight our disclaimer as part of the process, and I'll be commenting with some future comments about the company based on where it is today, which obviously may change materially as we go forward. So let me start and talk a little bit about OV and give you kind of a snapshot of the company. We are a personalized medicine company that develops not only therapeutics, but also a world-class predictive diagnostic platform. We utilize a whole series of algorithms and a filtering mechanism to really identify the best responders likely for a given patient, a population, or a given drug. We're a company that has a broad pipeline of late-stage anti-cancer treatments, which I'll highlight for you in just a moment. But as a company, we're focusing on 3 priority programs as our target areas, which involve both ovarian cancer, breast cancer, and some other markets. Now, it's also important that I will raise some more recent significant findings of development of one of our portfolio assets that has applications in the treatment of COVID-19. And hopefully we can also play a role there as well. But fundamental to our company really is the diagnostic platform, the DRP as we refer to it. It is a predictive tool that helps us select the patients most likely to respond for a given treatment. And we apply that platform to our existing assets in order to bring them to market to improve the efficacy outcome and a better response for patients, to avoid patients from getting drugs that would not benefit, and obviously direct it to patients that do. But in addition to that, our DRP platform, this diagnostic tool, if you will, accelerates clinical development of each of our priority programs as well as others. And I'll share a little bit more about that in just a moment. From a company standpoint, we have very strong intellectual property position. We have over 30 patents, and we have DRPs that are developed for more than 75 different cancer drugs. In fact, that number is probably much larger. So we develop DRP tools not only for our products, but we also develop them for other products in the marketplace with the same intent to help bring forward effective cancer treatment. In addition, as a company, we've got an experienced management team. Everyone that's part of this organization has at least 25 plus years industry experience with a demonstrated track record of success. And as a company, we're a public company listed on the NASDAQ First North in Stockholm, in your backyard, of course. And we're delighted to share with you some of the exciting work that we're doing. This slide here highlights our pipeline as it stands today. You can see that we've got, I always describe this as a champagne problem, where we have more assets than most companies of our size. But so we've got 6 products in our portfolio, all of them through late-stage clinical development. We as a company have chosen to focus on the top 3 and driven by their potential impact in the marketplace in the shortest time period. Davitinib, which is in pre-market, pre-registration right now this year. And we'll talk a little bit about our pre-NDA and our NDA filing, which we expect towards the end of this year. 2X121 is our PARP inhibitor, and that is in phase 2 clinical development, but is also now more recently in development for COVID-19, and I'll share with you a bit more detail in that in just a moment. And then Exempra, which is a microtubule inhibitor product for breast cancer. It's an approved asset in the United States today, and we are going to be filing for its approval in Europe. So as a company of our size, we have 3 near-term marketable products just really right around the horizon for approval. And we're very excited about that. And we utilize our DRP technology as part of it, with the goal to improve efficacy, outcome, and patient selection. I'm real excited to share with you some recent new clinical findings by virtue of the coronavirus. We have done some early stage work, and there's been a published paper indicating that a unique mechanism of action, which is joined by our PARP inhibitor, which is the 121 asset, has the unique ability to target the COVID-19 virus. And in fact, there are other products that come from that same class that show promising antiviral activity for COVID-19. We've embarked on a preclinical testing right now. It's actually in experiments as we speak at the Pathogen and Microbiome Institute of Northern Arizona. And we were testing 121 against the coronavirus for a therapy. We're very excited about the early promising indications that we've seen so far. And we think that we hopefully, if the experiments are positive, we'll be able to get it into clinic very, very quickly. This is a program that's moving very, very fast. And of course, we're all very excited about perhaps making a contribution in addressing the current outbreak that we're all struggling with today. So let me comment first a little bit more about the DRP platform and how exactly does it work and what are we trying to do? Well, in cancer, the biggest challenge is identifying those patients that are more likely to respond. And as a result, the way cancer is treated today is we give therapies to all patients. That includes high toxicity, high failure rates, low response rates, and high costs. It is somewhat of an outdated model. Our goal is to solve that problem and to create more personalized and predictive measurements towards which patients are more likely to respond. The idea migrating from all comers, as you can see to the left of this slide, to only selecting those patients that may likely respond to a given patient is really the holy grail. And as a result of that, we've been able to identify that subset through our DRP platform. So what is DRP and how does it work? Well, it's simply put, we utilize a whole series of models and algorithms that just model human tumor biology. And we use this through a unique diagnostic and predictive tool that is identified for a specific drug. This is a bioinformatics technology based on gene expression, system biology analysis, and a whole series of other kind of filtering mechanisms where we can identify through testing and databases which patients are likely to respond to a given treatment. We use that to identify and incorporate the cell line testing as an additional input. And from that, we can determine a cell response signature. As we go through these filtering systems, we then ultimately identify and create a DRP, a drug response predictor tool. And we use that for specific drugs as part of our clinical development and also for the market. Excuse me. So if you think about how drug-specific DRPs work, cancer is very complex. And if you look to the left of this diagram, what this is articulating is how communication mechanisms are in place between the cells of cancer and tumors and how they interact with one another. It's very complex, as you can see. We're trying to understand that is very, very difficult. And what we do is we utilize computer system modeling to take that left chart that looks very complex and how that communication works and incorporate in vitro transcriptomics, human system biology, and in vitro drug data to create a multi-gene DRP for a specific drug that ultimately we use as kind of the engine for evaluating and determining which patients are likely to respond. And that's a pretty sophisticated algorithm modeling tool that people use in the marketplace. What I think is fundamentally different about what we do is our work has been clinically validated, both prospectively and retrospectively in over 35 different clinical trials. And that is a fundamental difference between our company and many other companies that are out there claiming to do precision medicine or diagnostic tools. As a company, we focus on really three of the primary products that I'll mention to you, just to highlight briefly. The first is davitinib, and I'll share with you some details of that in a moment, a late-stage product that was acquired from Novartis. Exempra, again, another late-stage product that came from our pharma, excuse me, and 2X121, which is our PARP inhibitor, which came from Eisai. So let me highlight them briefly for you so you get a flavor of these. The first, davitinib, is a pan-tyrosine kinase inhibitor. It has demonstrated activity in phase 3. It was developed by Novartis. They invested $50+ million in the drug development of the asset. It has a very unique mechanism of action targeting a whole slew of different unusual targets for cancer. As a result of us acquiring the asset, we basically have been able to garner the benefit of having GMP and FDA approved drug and manufacturing completed. We have developed a DRP to improve its efficacy and outcome, to identify which patients are going to respond. We have already been in discussions with the FDA. We have already cleared and had a pre-NDA meeting. And our expectation is to file this drug this year in 2020 with an NDA. We're very excited about it, and we're utilizing the DRP. It will be the first of drugs not only in our portfolio, but we believe in the market that will have an algorithm-based bioinformatics tool in combination with an active agent to improve patient outcomes. So it's a very exciting late-stage program and our lead program as a company. Second is Exempra. As I mentioned, this is an asset that came from our pharma. It is already approved for metastatic breast cancer in the United States. So it's already an approved agent, but it is not approved in Europe. It has a very unique mechanism of action. It's a small molecule targeting microtubule inhibition. Again, by virtue of us licensing the asset, we have a complete manufacturing and drug process and clinical supply for the drug in the marketplace. We have created a DRP that is validated in metastatic breast cancer, and we've also identified a clear clinical path. We're in phase 2 right now for development, and our expectation is to file this asset for European approval in a very near future. So enrollment or phase 2 is happening right now, and we expect to participate in this market. Again, breast cancer is a market with high unmet need, and one that we believe as an approved drug in the US, we can get the approval in Europe. So another, I'll call it near-term inflection point for the company. The last is the most exciting in my opinion, and that is our PARP inhibitor. PARP inhibitors are a very unique mechanism of action. This asset came from Eisai. We are the only unencumbered PARP inhibitor in development right now in phase 2 at Dana-Farber Cancer Institute in Boston. We have, so in addition to now its drug development in cancer, which seems to be moving quite readily fast in a whole area that is very interesting. And we will be a first-in-class molecule to target not only the PARP component, but another mechanism called pancrease. And if I had more time, I could define a bit more details behind it. That'll be very unique PARP inhibitor marketplace. And we expect to participate in this PARP market, which is extensive. And we're in phase 2 as we speak. But what's exciting is the most recent data I mentioned to you earlier, and that is the ability for this asset to also demonstrate antiviral activities for COVID-19. We just initiated the experiments, the preclinical experiments just last week. And we are expecting to, if the data comes out positive, enter into clinical testing, human testing in the second half of this year. This could potentially be a transformational product for COVID-19. And we're very excited about the ability to play a role in resolving the pandemic that we have before us. So this is an asset that has potentially 2 very near-term shots on goal, and we're very excited about the future for our PARP inhibitor. As a company, we are focused really on making sure that we're running the company in a very fiscally responsible way. And I'm happy to report that we have put together a robust finance team and CFO. We have fully cost reviewed and optimization of all the expenses for the company in the last quarter of the year, and put together control mechanisms to manage the capital that we have. We've been fortunate to have access to equity investments from investors, but also as a backstop, we've got a convertible loan of upwards to 100 million SEK at OV's discretion to be utilized as necessary, to be opportunistic as we develop our programs. From a company standpoint, we have a very clean balance sheet. We don't have any debt or loans or interest payments at this time. All of our capital is deployed primarily for advancing the 3 high priority programs directly, and obviously managing the company, and that's important. So we've attempted to de-risk the value of this company by making sure that it's being run and managed very responsibly. And then finally, of course, we have an experienced management team, which is really kind of a reboot from about a year ago, and that management team brings forward expertise and a demonstrated track record of success in developing both cancer agents and agents for areas of high unmet need. From a company's perspective, we really have what I describe as strategic horizons for value creating or value creating events for growth. And we look at it as kind of a 3-step process as the company begins to move to its more commercial phase of its history. The first phase is really advancing the 3 programs that I mentioned to you earlier, and making sure that we've got the clinical programs in place, the capital investments in place, and the near-term inflection points ready to go. And that's really primarily going to be driven by our NDA filing of davitinib, our lead compound in the market. We're very excited about that. It's kind of phase 1 into it, and we believe that that attempt is really focusing on shareholder value. We're looking at commercialization and the ability to drive the assets and the technology and monetize it for the benefit of our shareholders. That's what we describe as kind of step 1 or phase 1. Phase 2 is then obviously monetizing the next level of once these assets are approved. Again, in addition to the davitinib near-term filing, we have Exempra, which is expected to be filing immediately thereafter. And we also have our PARP inhibitor, which is still going through its development. This does not include the ability to incorporate just yet COVID-19, which is yet another growth driver for the company and another potential inflection point for the company in the very, very near term. That program, if successful, is going to move, as you would expect, at lightning speed. We're getting a tremendous amount of interest and excitement about our work there. And I think we've got good fundamentals in place to kind of manage through that kind of growth. We're looking forward to that outcome. And then step 3 in the process is, once we've been able to maximize commercialization of the kind of value creating activities that we've got for the company, it's really about growing it beyond it. So the DRP platform, not only does it help us register, target, and expand the outcomes of our existing products, but it is also a diagnostic platform that we're able to create, put together, and manage for other people's products. And that is yet a whole nother area or avenue of partnership that we believe could expand the value creation of the company. We think there's going to be a huge explosion in interest with the technology and the tool. And we know that will be kind of the step 3 into the process. So if you think of this as kind of a stepward approach, getting the fundamentals down in place, getting commercialization up and running, and then expanding that to broader indications, broader markets, broader partners as part of it, is really the next wave. And the last is really the most futuristic part of it is not only can we use our tool for drug-specific predicting modeling, but we actually can do the same technology, and we have with patient specific patient modeling, which is PRP developments would be the next phase of the company, where we can kind of grow. And we're often excited about that, but we want to make sure that we got our fundamentals down right, and our economics done right, and our ability to execute and demonstrating that to the marketplace. So that's kind of the what we drive as our value creating events for the future. So I guess I can end by just saying that I think that the company has the fundamentals in place. We're very excited about the near-term activities before us. We believe we're greatly undervalued in the marketplace. I often describe it as we're one of the best well-kept secrets in oncology drug development, and now in virology drug development. And we think we've got breakthrough technology with our DRP. We will be the first in the industry to offer that in the marketplace that has been clinically validated. And we think it's going to be a transformational course of the way drugs will be developed, commercialized, and given to patients in the future. So let me pause there, and I guess hand it back to you, Ulf, to see if there's a question and answer session following the brief overview.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Steve. It might be some questions from the audience sitting at home listening to us. Not so far. So I will open with a question. Let's discuss a little bit about your business model. It's kind of interesting. You say in the reports that there are more drugs out there sitting on the shelves than you can work with. So it's like picking the low-hanging fruit. How do you identify those? Do you walk around in big pharma? How do you get them?
Well, the first is we look at identifying. We do experiments with our DRP, and we try to find drugs that we can create a DRP for. The second is looking for drugs that have either just missed their clinical endpoint. There are many compounds out there because they've done robust clinical trials that if they had 1 or 2 patients more that would have responded, they would have gotten approved agents. They're active agents. It's just that because the way the trial designs are written, they just missed their clinical endpoint. We look at those and identify if we can improve, we can narrow the patient population that are included in those trials. So instead of a 1,000 patient trial of which only 20% respond, we have a 500 patient trial, but nearly all of them are patients selected to respond. And when you do that with the DRP, then you get an improved efficacy rating, and therefore you have an active agent. Because the key is getting rid of the noise, getting rid of the patients that are not likely to benefit. And we have the ability to do that.
Yeah, I'm more interested. I think that's beautiful, and I understand how it works. But how does it really works hands-on? Do you knock on the door on Novartis and say, "Hey guys, we know that you missed an endpoint, and we have this DRP, and can we do some analysis?" I mean, you had to get to have your hands on the data.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great. We do. We knock on the door of those companies, and we say we've got a tool. We developed a DRP. We patented it because we own it, and it could be for their product. We knock on the door of Novartis. We say we've got a DRP tool that can enhance the efficacy of one of the assets that are either sitting on your shelf or that you're in development with. And sometimes that starts with a partnership where they say, well, let us run the tool on one of our trials and see what happens. They'll test us, which is fine. And it's our best sales tool. And they have done that. And as a result of that, we ended up demonstrating that, in some cases we can select the patients with an accuracy of almost 80%, which is pretty remarkable.
And some of the projects of the 3 top, I think you have in-licensed some and you own some other.
Yeah, well, they're all technically in-licensed from big pharma. The assets were all developed. And when you do that, you inherit a full package. You get manufacturing, it's been de-risked. You don't have to worry about it.
But do you own the project now, or do you in-license it?
Yeah, no, we own the assets. We do have some obligations back to the inventors. In this case, some of them are big pharma. But we do own the assets for the markets that we participate in, and then we pay a nominal fee back to them.
Okay, so there is not so that you own it and you have paid some for it, and they have a first of refusal if they want to have it back, or?
No, I mean there are circumstances where, you know, if they've done all the development work and we've taken it and licensed it for a particular market and we've demonstrated we could get it approved,
Yeah.
it would be very interesting to them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we believe that when that kind of thing happens, we'll get a lot of folks knocking on our door, including the inventor.
Yeah.
We think that's a good thing for us to be in that position.
Yeah.
Nothing would please me more than to go back to Novartis and said, "We got your drug registered. Would you like it back?" And it would cost a lot.
Yeah, that's right. I think that would be a great situation to be in. We have a question here from the audience. What is the mechanism in the COVID-19 treatment? I think they refer to the 2x121 PARP inhibitor. What is the exact mechanism? Is this the cytokine storm or?
It does two things. It actually inhibits replication. There's a replication pathway of the virus, how it replicates. So it has a mechanism to inhibit that component of the virus. But in addition to that, it actually can suppress a GPG and IL-6 production in peripheral monoclonal cells. So it may have the combination of inhibiting the virus replication and playing a role in anti-inflammatory effect, which is also highly relevant. So we believe it has the ability to kind of hit both. Now, the question is how much on each, and that's what we're really trying to evaluate. You know, what a degree. So it's not one or the other. It's a little bit of both of the unique mechanisms. So it could be a very exciting finding. We believe so. And we think that this is a drug. Now, keep in mind, we've been giving it in patients for cancer. So you can imagine that drug's been in nearly 50 plus patients already. We already know the safety profile. It's very well tolerated. It does not have some of the challenges that some of the other drugs that are in development right now, including like QT prolongation and cardiac issues, things of that nature. We don't have that. So we believe that, you know, if indeed it's able to get approved, it's going to play well in the sandbox with existing therapy. And we think it actually might be a great combination with the most recent approval.
Yeah. Do you foresee a fast track with the compassionate use license for the PARP inhibitor?
We do. We think that if indeed we can demonstrate what we think we were seeing, then we'll get fast track approval for obvious reasons, right? I mean,
yeah. I mean, that's compassionate use. So,
approved. You know, we think it's going to go at light speed, if you will. I mean, we went from the discovery to actually arranging the testing to actually doing the testing in a matter of like weeks. So, you know, literally the drug is being tested as we speak. And, you know, we hope to get some results sometime soon. It's moving very, very quickly. You know, and there's still a lot of work to do. And so I want to make sure people understand that. But there has been published papers indicating outside of our organization that PARP inhibitors have a very unique mechanism and could play a very important role in COVID-19.
Yeah. There's another question here. Are there any current interest from BP? I don't know what BP stands for here. Maybe you know that.
Well, I'm trying to guess current entrance from BP. Like blood pressure or something to that effect. Maybe they could clarify a bit more.
Maybe the one who sent that question can clarify what BP. I can't really see the abbreviation. The convertible loan you took, is that a call? Can you draw whenever you want during 24 months or?
Yeah, I think it's really important to recognize we are in complete control of it. That I look at as a backstop. So it's not called by the loan agency. It is all at our discretion and completely in our control. That is very unlike any other arrangement I think that you would typically see with some others. But the idea is that if we have, let's say, exciting outcome from our COVID work or even our clinical programs for some of our oncology indications, we want to be in a position to react very, very quickly and use capital to provide shareholder value in a very, very short period of time. And that's what it does for us.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Steve. I think time is run out now. Big Pharma. Are there current interest from Big Pharma?
All I can say, is that we continually get interest from companies on an ongoing basis. I think the best way to attract big pharma is to demonstrate success, and our goal right now is to focus on execution. So I can't discuss the nature of any conversations we've had, but there's a lot of interest in the company, and we're very excited about it. And we hope your participants are equally excited about it.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Steve, and good luck and have a good day.
Thank you. You do the same.